Gato Nagaro said, thoughts on how other devs, e.g. the Total War devs, talk to players compared to Blizzard. I can't compare with Total War devs because with Total War, like, I just kind of play the games. I do know that there's, like, it's very easy to get a bit blacklisted by Creative Assembly. From what I understand, like, unless you're not covering their most recent games, they're just not that interested in you. So, there's a few little iffy things that I've heard there. But yeah, so I couldn't really talk to them. I would say I have long-standing issues with some of the modern design aspects of the Total War games, which is specifically difficulty via hidden combat modifiers, which basically, it kind of breaks a whole bunch of the unit design in a way that even if you're playing legendary difficulty Shogun 2, you don't get, because, your Yari Ashigaru, the enemy's Yari Ashigaru, I think there's like minor stat tweaks going on, but it's nowhere near as much as it is in the very caster-based sort of modern Total Wars. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, I suppose. As for other devs, I mean, WoW is the only game that I follow to that level of depth. I've certainly heard people from other dev communities, like even some Destiny people, funny enough, just because, I have a lot of disagreements with how they've done some things in Destiny, but credit to them, they usually do very long explainer posts to explain what they're doing. I've seen a bunch of people talk about FF, saying that those devs are very receptive. So to me, it's like, it's not even a comparative thing massively. It's just, I don't think the WoW stuff is as good as it should be, and I think they'd have easy wins if they made it better. That's mostly it. We got from Alex Beam, who said, I would love to see you both show us your best stereotypical Irish accent, like how an American would impersonate one. I can't do accents.
I did mine whenever you were gone getting food.
Good man.
People laughed. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. Although someone did say it was basically exactly how their grandfather spoke. So maybe it was accurate. Or maybe Connell will kill me next time he sees me. One of the two.
Or both.
Both, perhaps.
Or both.
Perhaps both.
We got another one here from Dragon Song. Also, I wanted to repeat a thing. A good story is ruined by bad storytelling. A mediocre story can be a masterpiece through nailing storytelling.
Big true.
That is a big thing. And I think with WoW, people get confused between lore, story, and storytelling. I think lore is generally good. Story can be quite good. Storytelling is often where they fall over. And then when storytelling, kind of betrays the story, then the story can betray the lore, and then you have people losing faith in the IP. And I'd worry that that's what happens too much in some of these modern times. It's like you can't build people up about Ny'alotha and Yogg-Saroth or N'Zoth and then take them out the way you did and expect people to, take big things seriously, because they'll feel a little betrayed because it was such a sort of wet fart of a, of an end for a pretty iconic villain who's been fiddling around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the problem. There's fundamentally very little wrong with how Ny'alotha was story-wise handled. Big bad appears, we went in, sorted them out. Did we use a MacGuffin? Yeah. Was one of the MacGuffins set up? Have we been building on this MacGuffin the entire expansion? Yes. So we can easily see, if Ny'alotha was 2 patches long, but it was the same. It was the same thing with more dots to connect instead of just one big straight line. That's
it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours of scenario-based quest content, followed by kill N'Zoth and 72 gold.
Yeah,
just not a winning recipe.
Yeah, if he had named lieutenants that we spent a couple of hours trying to kill, that would have even helped significantly. Just weaken him. If we did something specific to empower the heart even further, or to empower the forge, stuff like that. Yeah, all would have felt fine, but it's just turned out we went and beamed him in the head and gone.
Like if we did, if that shipped with a 6-hour long narrative that was really way more in depth, that actually involved a whole bunch, like Vexiona could have had a lot more time with her. Yeah, it was nice that we actually did have Vexiona be decently established in the previous patch, but they could have done more. Would have been nice, but it just feels like with BFA they were a bit overambitious. They tried to cram in a little more than they could get away with, a lot more than they could get away with, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of that even comes through very strongly in Shadowlands, where the idea of Vexiona, I was thinking, who's Inquisitor Zanish? Well, I guess that was the Ashara fight, technically. So it doesn't matter who Inquisitor Zanish is. We know roughly who Il'gynoth was. Then 2 fights were N'Zoth. So that's all okay. First was Wrathion. That's fine. We know who Wrathion is. Maybe we don't completely agree why we're fighting him, because that seemed a bit slightly contrived. But it doesn't particularly matter. Versus, versus whenever you went into a raid and you knew all the bosses.
Yeah.
Not that happened very often, but there are times where it kind of did. And it feels really good to actually have, a boss matters more when they actually are involved. Like the Soul Render fight. No one gives a single toss who Soul Rendered Dormazin is, or Dormazin, or Dormazin, whatever his name is. But it's the Garrosh fight because Garrosh is there. And that makes it feel so much better than just the Soul Render fight. It's the Garrosh fight.
Oh, big, yeah.
So they just need
absolutely.
if they had the time to expand. It's sort of the same with the game. If the game's bad, it doesn't matter so much if there's content. That's the that's I think the be all end all of it is where's all the content and where's all the narrative content, because you can just if you give us time with your characters, write them as bad as you want. As long as we spend time, we'll be like, aye, sure, why not?
Time definitely helps.